There once was a girl named Elijah. She had a job and was making lots of money, but then she lost it, so she had to move to her grandfather's house until she could afford one of her own. Whether you were together or alone, her grandfather's house was not the place to be. So that afternoon, she pulled up to the house, ready to move in with all of her bags. Once she got inside, she started making dinner, which turned out surprisingly well from what it had been when she started to cook at her apartment. It was almost as if this house was giving her good luck. Or was it? That evening she was watching TV when it suddenly shut off. All she could hear was the eerie ticking noise of a clock. She went to investigate. And it led her to a tall, rusty clock on one of the walls in the kitchen. This ticking noise was getting her so freaked out that she decided to turn it off. When her body was found untouched next to the clock the next morning, no outside wounds. So the police just thought she ate poison or something. That afternoon, her brother had to stay at the house. He was going to a college nearby, but it was too far of a drive every morning, so he stayed there in the meantime. He managed to last one night there without any problems. It was almost as if the house was giving him good luck. Or was it? The next morning, he was packing his bags ready to go to the college. He was listening to music when suddenly it shut off. All he could hear was the eerie ticking noise of a clock. He went to investigate. The ticking noise led him to a tall, rusty clock on one of the kitchen walls. This ticking noise was freaking him out so much, so he decided to turn the clock off. When again, his body was found untouched the next morning, lying beside the clock, so the police just thought it was poison. So the police were getting really fishy, so they sent one of their best cops to go investigate the house and see what was causing the problem. He started looking around in the living room when suddenly he heard this ghostly noise saying, "Help! Help us!" So he followed the ghostly echoes all the way down the hall. It led him to a tall, rusty clock in the middle of the kitchen. He pulled out his walkie-talkie and started talking to the police, when suddenly it shut off. All he could hear was the eerie ticking noise of a clock. When he turned it off, his body was found untouched beside the clock. The police decided that they should knock down the house, but they had to move the most treasured items out of it first. there was only one girl brave enough to do this. Mia was a caring girl who lived in the village. She would help anyone who was poor or in need of a helping hand. People thought she was kind of odd, though, but they didn't really mind. The only weird thing is she was perfectly fine to going to a place where her best friend had died. That's right, she was best friends with Elijah. Anyway, she pulled up to the house that afternoon to start moving things out of it. She got in and started to move a few things around, but then she decided she needed a break. So she was heating some food up in the microwave when suddenly the microwave shut off. All she could hear was the eerie ticking noise of a clock. A grin spread across Mia's face as she walked over to the tall, rusty clock. "Help," the voices said. Mia replied, "No. Not until I get my revenge." It was pretty much impossible to guess what happened, so I'll explain it. Basically, long ago, her grandfather killed Mia. So Mia trapped him in a clock. But then she realized the grandfather was forced to do it, and now she's on the search for the person who did that to her, who forced the grandfather to kill her. So yeah, basically the reason why there's no outside wounds is because she literally just snatched their soul and put it in a clock. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the clock was ticking but not moving. That's why the story is called The Clock That Never Ticks. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to us, and farewell.